Greetings and salutations, malefactors and YouTubers. Well, I recently had one of our subscribers tell me, "Hey Stoplogic, you do too many boring videos about you wrenching on a bike." Well, guess what? Today's video is going to be another boring video of me wrenching on a dirt bike. So, after the slightly self-destructive race last weekend, we're going to be pulling the forks out, the seals, adding oil, and eventually the second video is going to be me either trading this tire out or just doing the tube in it. So we'll see what goes on with this. I will admit I'm a bit shocked that running 16 psi in this Recon hybrid got me a pinch flat. 16 psi, you should be just skating all over the place with reckless abandon. At any rate, I am going to go ahead and do cuts on this video instead of show you every single painful step of me puttering through it, because at the very least I figure that's probably a little bit easier to watch. But we're gonna get underway here in a couple. I'm just getting all my tools set up that I think I'm going to need. Invariably, I will be missing most of the tools that I think that I need, but we'll see where we go from here. But at any rate, we're gonna go ahead and get underway. So, now I've got another thing to add on to here. I discovered, after getting all my lights and everything kind of sussed out before, that my brake line rubs up against my straps here, and they're getting a little bit on the worn out side. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to route this in a way that it doesn't destroy my straps. I got the actual brake line route, but I found out that it is only effective for a stock line. This steel braided line is actually significantly shorter than the stock rubber line for the WR. So I'm going to be sussing that out. But pretty much we're going to take a little pause here. I'm going to grab all the tools I believe I'm going to need, and we're going to start ripping this thing apart. Alrighty, that should be just about everything for right now. I don't have, I'll be able to find later. Oh boy, that's an oily mess. So instead of ordering brand new brake pads, what I'm going to try and do is recover the brake pads with brake cleaner and see if I can get them to grip right. You know, I wouldn't have to expect to remove this thing anytime soon. These bolts are partially stripped when I was doing all of this before. Oh, come on, feller. Toss a little Loctite, put it back on there. I did think about drilling and rethreading, but no real point. Actually torn apart suspension, but I've watched some videos on it, so I do not feel as if I'm an expert on the subject matter. Ah, see what I did there? I don't feel like I'm an expert on the subject matter. But the concept of it seems simple enough. Those are all pretty loose. I'll make sure to Loctite all that back up. Little filters. At some point I need to head up to Harbor Freight and grab me a brand new set of screwdrivers. Hey, let go. There we go. Now I'm basically going to show doing just one of these all the way through. I mean, I would pretty much assume that you would gather that taking apart your forks is the same thing twice. And I'm doing the hard side with all the brakes and all the other stuff, so kind of figure that will all make sense to itself. Well, come on, we'll go. Should come off fairly easily, it's well oiled. Ha 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 ha, funny. Alrighty. So right here, this is the side that wasn't pouring out oil. It was actually that side that was pouring out oil. But both were dripping fairly significantly. So that's what we're looking at today. I'm gonna have to make sure to clean these fork tubes off nice and clean like, and everything else. So there's two schools of thought on doing these forks. One would be backing off all the adjusters and pulling them apart that way, and the other one is leaving your adjusters exactly where they're at and disassembling them. So the manual doesn't mention on the front suspension releasing all of the preload and everything else. The rear suspension, it does. I'm not quite ready to tackle rear suspension, and it's still in good shape. Now this is definitely no indictment of the person who worked on this stuff. I mean, suspension just goes sometimes. I definitely wasn't easy on this bike by any stretch of the imagination. Really, a 12 again? This bike really loves 12mm sockets. So yeah, it's no indictment on the person who did the forks. I had a KX100 growing up that honestly, for entire seasons I'd ride without fork oil just because the fork seals blew so much and my dad was tired of paying the money to have it repaired. So it would just go to the point we would just let it ride. And God, the thing was a terrible, terrible ride with no fork oil. Actually, the year I got first in, what was it, mini intermediate, I'd done that whole season without any fork oil. Alright, that's a 10. But yeah. And I know I'm not leaving myself a ton of room to work here. But it's because this is where I have the bike stood up and I still have other bikes to put back in here. So, you know, do what you can sort of deal. I'm not feeling too great about the sturdiness of this stand. I might try and tie the bike off to a couple of points in the garage. But we're going to pause a second. I'm going to grab a couple more tools. Alright, we're back. Got all the other stuff I believe I'm going to need. You know, you always say that. But life just kind of surprises you a smidge. Decinch these fork bolts a smidge. Actually, before I do that, oh, where's my big old wrench? My big old burrito. Wanna bite of my burrito? I know you're not supposed to use your torque wrench as a breaker bar, but my breaker bar broke. Guess it was true to its name, huh? Crank this bad boy up to about 70 foot-pounds. Make sure I'm on lefty loosey. Crank you back down to 10. So I am considering selling this bike because it's a little tall for me. Actually, it's a lot tall for me. That's a lot tall for me. Or having a professional lower the suspension for me. My biggest issue in the race with it was, since I don't have magic button, it's a 39-inch seat height and I have a 29-inch inseam, if that puts it in perspective. So part of the race video of me wheeling the thing around after I stalled it or dropped it was trying to find a surface flat enough for me to put foot down to start it without just tipping over and looking like a fool. No, I mean, I looked like a fool anyway, but I mean, you know. Dang. I put these things to specified torque, but they feel like they're way up there. That's strange. I think these are like 20 foot-pounds of torque. Oh, maybe. They just feel tighter. They sure feel big. I gotta get the front tire off anyway. This stand hasn't been so bad so far. It just feels really unstable. I've never used a stand like that. I use my old, get a shot of it here in a second. My 30-year-old trusted, I guess, tip stand. Not to be confused with the stand that gives tips. Here's a tip. Don't throw anything away if you don't have to. So yeah, I'm gonna have to apologize. Content's gonna be a little bit light for a bit, but it is what it is. Do have some exciting product reviews and stuff coming up that you guys might be interested in. And since I don't have a store or any affiliation, it's 100% out of my own pocket and unabashed reviews. I don't know, I'm still deciding about this bike. I could take it off to get the suspension lowered. I mean, it's a fun bike. Got tons of poke, it's just, it's tall and it's heavy and it's tall. And did I mention it was tall? It's very tall. Alrighty, let's see, what size bolt are you up top? Looks like an 18. It's only supposed to be 30 foot-pounds on here. 30, 35. adjust up my impromptu breakover bar. I get an extension. Woo! Man, this mechanics seat's like the episode of the farty bench at Bob's Burgers. I had this mechanics bench for ages. Dang, buddy, you're nearly at 70 foot-pounds. Alright, just cracking it a bit loose. I should probably crack the other one loose while I have this right here. Oh, that other one was nice and loose. I think when it starts to get hot outside, I'll probably focus on getting these tools put up in the way. I'm gonna need to hang up that brake caliper here. Alright, Philly. Take 5. So where am I gonna hang you? And the reason you want to hang up your brake caliper is so you don't wind up damaging it. I'll rest you on here for a little bit. I usually have my bungee cords, but I've been using those to hold my seat on. I was missing the tank strap. Just gonna make sure this thing didn't tip back and just fall over on me or the car. Oh, that's a front axle. You're looking particularly axly today. Do 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 do. You know. There's bound to be some Beverly Hills Cops fans here. Maybe I'd be that kind of guy that doesn't name the bike, I just name the components on the bike. Call the axle Foley. Alright. This tire's still in good shape. I do have the Tusk D Sports in the truck. I could put those on, but honestly, I kind of want to finish wearing these out. I know these are the appropriate torque. I took the wrench to those bad boys myself. Huh. Well, that fills me with a little bit of a sense of dread. Yeah, check those threads. And they're still in good shape, but that fills me with a little bit of trepidation. Let's go back to the 10 on here. It does. I'm kind of a bit worried now. A little humid out today. I'm waiting for the end of the day. I'm trying to at least get this service started. I'll wait for the end of the day to try and do my mowing. Alright. Now, memory serves me, these things were in here stupid tight. Alright, we're past the first triple clamp. Normally you don't have to yank them out like that. They'll usually wiggle and twist. Whew, there we go. Let's take a look at those threads. Yeah. Yeah, they're actually still mostly good. Alrighty. Then we got a freshly blown fork. And I'll pull the other bad boy out of there later on. And I'm out of scrubbing bubbles, which is my usual go-to for cleaning stuff like this up. So we're just gonna go the old-fashioned way with some Windex and a scrub brush and a hose. I can find my Windex, scrub brush, and hose. Definitely not using purple power on it. No heavy degreasers or solvents. Do we got any more in here? Maybe a little bit. Oh, that's rough. Alright, let me go get some cleaner. I'll be right back. So you ask, what's the deal with the electronic parts cleaner? Well, when you're doing a fork oil service, electronic parts cleaner cuts the fork oil. Found me some cleaning foams. This stuff's just kind of a good all-purpose cleaner. Don't knock the scrubbing bubbles, it's good stuff. Let it set up for a little bit. Don't use oven cleaner, I made that mistake once. Super harsh on everything. Man, Stoplogic, you and that toilet brush. Hey, it's gentle enough to use on almost any surface on your bike. And it's good for getting hard to reach places. 3 out of 3 experts agree. No, really, it's just easier to work on clean parts. Alright. Ooh. Yeah, let's simmer you down a bit. Alright, so we still got some oil towards the bottom. some schmutz. Me and my oily dirt. Be careful not to just score on this stuff a whole bunch. You want these tubes to still maintain their smoothness and sheen. The other deal, if you have water high in minerals, it's a good idea to do a gentle wipe with a microfiber cloth and a little bit of fork oil, or just a microfiber cloth to knock off the rest of the hard water deposits, because hard water can actually blow your fork seals too. Not as easily or as often, but it can do it. Now here in Hutto, there's few places with harder water. Our water is practically chewable. Alrighty. A freshly cleaned fork. Try this bad boy up. Alright, paper towel. This point almost looks good to you, huh? And the looks are deceiving. Well, this thing, beauty's only skin deep. So while I have it like this, check for any sort of like nicks or wear to the tube. Because there's no point in doing this if my tube's all damaged. This thing looks like it's pretty good. You hear that noise? There's oil in them there forks, so give it a few pumps and you can see it. We've got a bit of weep. Now at this point, you can make one of two choices. You can peel this dust seal off and you can take a seal saver and see if you can get it to stop leaking. Which I think I'm tempted to do. I don't think Mr. Extraordinarily Blown Fork Seal is going to do the trick though. Get ourselves a little flat blade screwdriver, peel this dust seal off. Be very careful not to nick your fork leg while doing this. Do 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 do. Well, this is a tight-fitting dust seal. I'm gonna do a smaller one. Might have to go to a really tiny one to peel this thing out. There we go, got a little bit of purchase here. Alright, so this actually isn't your fork seal. If you're unfamiliar with the fork anatomy, that is your dust seal. So this feller down in here, I'm trying to get a good shot of it. I'm going to take you off for a second. That feller down there is your actual fork seal. So when you attempt to do a cleaning on these, and just use the seal saver, that's where you're going to actually be working the seal saver. So alright, so we got a little bit of weep on there. I don't have a ton of fork oil left in it though. I mean, here's some in there, but alright, so we got some weep around the back. So right about here on the seal, we've got weep. All right, now I know where my seal saver is, or at least where it was. I've actually successfully done this on the Africa Twin 3 times. Ah, come here, buddy. And you want to make sure that your seal saver is nice and clean before you try this. Till it's been well loved. Now you try and get between the fork seal and the fork itself, and you angle that bad boy up in there. I'll tell you, it's actually a lot harder than it looks to get the thing in there. And you want to twist with the hook side. On the bike, you'll actually spin this thing around. We've got a bit of grit in there. This is normally where you would take your contact cleaner and start spraying out. So there's a bit of schmutz stuck in there. Alright, let's get you cleaned off. So to make sure you're not getting any residual fork oil coming out when you're checking these for leaks, you hit it with the contact cleaner. And you know why you want to hit it with contact cleaner on top of the fact that it actually eats fork oil? It dries semi-instantly. So it's pretty much nearly already dry. Crazy, huh? Pumping 10 times. 10. And yeah, we're still leaking oil. We're gonna give it a wipe though. At this point you grab a fresh paper towel, because when you start doing the pumping, so you've done your first 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, would you look at that? We'll do another 10 just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we fixed the first seal with having to peel this thing apart. I'm talking about some good luck there, right? Well, okay, well, never mind. So this fork's been recovered without having to tear it apart. Well, color me surprised, right? Alright, so that doesn't work every time. And we're going to still need to check the We're still gonna need to check the level in it and make sure we're still at that spec. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there's a faint amount of oil on this. Alright, so well, I meant to show you a video of me ripping these things apart, but apparently I showed you a video of me using a seal saver. You, I'm gonna need to do a bit more work to. I don't suspect, man, this thing is just low as heck. I don't suspect we're gonna luck out with the second fork. Yeah, see, we just gave it a little pumpy pump, and it's like freewheeling some leakage. So, over to the cleaning spot. Get you looking nice and purty. Huh. Well, that's certainly a potential issue. So next you'll want to ask, okay, well, if you see fork legs that look a little bit weird, when should you be worrying about the potential damage to them? I'm about to show you. And this is where we're about to make a decision if I'm going to buy some new parts for this bike. So that fork leg is actually pretty pristine. No real damage to it. Looking pretty good. You have this bad boy out there though. Where was that line at? Alright, we're gonna take this out to the sun. There's a couple of spots in here that give me a little bit of trepidation. Might just be burning money putting fork seals on this thing. Alright. So you've got a scar mark on the bottom, which you can feel with your fingernail. So normally that's going to be your litmus test on if you're going to have issues with it. If you can feel the damage with your fingernail, it's going to catch on your seals. And here's the other spot I was looking at that kind of made me a bit nervous. See that right there? Well, that one doesn't catch on the fingernail, so it might still be alright. I have a feeling when I hit this bottom spot here, I'm going to be nicking up those forks. Alright, well, let's get this oil seal off. And so when you listen to this one, there's barely any oil left in it. Barely any oil left in it. Alright, dust seal. Ooh, yeah, this thing's messy behind this dust seal. I don't think we're gonna rescue this one with the seal saver. Alright, so we got a freely leaking seal. So before we make the decision to pull this bad boy completely apart, ooh, that's another bad spot on the fork, it looks like. What's the rule, guys? Fingernail. So I'm gonna give it 2 quick pumps to see where it's leaking, which that's primarily leaking from. Oh, 103. Alright, so it's leaking mainly from the rear. Now, this will be interesting if I turn this into a commercial for seal savers. It's not my intention, trust me. Yeah. Alright, so we hit our electronic parts cleaner. Same thing as last time. Yeah, this one's way low. I can still hear some stuff in there, but it's super low. Alright, all the oil's off. 10 repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What do we got? We got oil. Well, give it one more clean wipe. Might be some leftover. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh. So I have as much oil. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. And okay, you're making a liar out of me, fork leg. Are we done with the oil? Okay, well this is definitely odd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I do need to consider changing these fork legs out. We're gonna do one more repetition of 10. See if we got any more oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got the sun. Dang. Okay. Hit it with one more round of this. I'm going to see what our fork oil level looks like. Well, I've inadvertently done an advertisement for Seal Savers. Okay. Goodness, some corrosion in there. So normally what you'll do is you'll peel this part down, and you're gonna crack this doohickey off the bolt. I'm just checking to see if we have any contaminant or anything in there. So we've got a little bit of contaminant. And these were recently serviced, so they shouldn't be just like full of crap. Now my question is, when I check the oil, do I check it from the tube being pulled all the way up, or? That's where I'm a bit confused at. Okay, well, I see where the, oof. Boy, this is a mess. I see where this goes. Get the top bit, get the wrench on there, crack that thing open. So a 19 millimeter up top, and I believe it's a 17 millimeter in here. Yeah, it's 17 millimeter. Looks like everyone's been just going through the spring here, but I don't know if I can really recommend doing that. Alright, so let's get this 17 as 19. Guess that's why they say use a dampening rod holder. And for damping rod, make sure never to bend this, put it in a semi-safe location. Goodness. Some corrosion on the spring. Kind of want to take all the corrosion out of this deal. Honestly, if anything's going to blow my seal, it's going to be all this schmutz in here. Anyways, enough jerking about with this. Alrighty, we're back. So this is the Tusk, I guess, fork oil measure puller outer thingamajigger. So what the manual says on this bike is compress the forks fully and then measure from 135 centimeters or millimeters from the top. So that'd be 10.5 right here. So we're gonna drop this drop this doohickey to where we're at 135 millimeters from the top. Oh goodness. That's recommended. Unless you're in Europe, then it's 120. So you have your spring out, you got your dampening rod out, you take your fork here and you move it on down. Compress the cartridge, the dampening rod all the way in. Well, that's nowhere near 135 from the top. Oh, looks like we're bleeding air out of here. So you see, ice up and close. Try and get a good shot of it. There's a bit of air popping out in there. Well, that's certainly something. So basically, we've got to wait and let this thing fill up the dampening rod. Pull it out a little bit, pump it down, pull it up, pump it down. Huh. I didn't realize there was graduated marks on here. So, look closely at your Tusk tool. There's little graduated marks there. That's a bit strange. It says 135 from the top. Service limit is 80 to 150. I'm guessing the guy who worked on this last went ahead and took it up to the maximum service limit. Just in case we have a leak, we have a little bit to go on, so to speak. So we're gonna... Hey, service limit is 80 to 100, then I'm not going to argue with that. But this thing should have lost a ton of oil. So that has us to 80. That's a nice brand new fluid too. Yeah, this isn't a fresh fill, so this should be about where it's supposed to be. So service limit of 80. I'm gonna drop you at 100. Another 20 milliliters out. I ditch a little bit of air out of here. Okay, so we're right at 100 milliliters of oil out. That's a lot of fork oil removed from there. And it looks pristine, no contaminants, nothing of that nature. Let's set you off to the side. So damper rod fully compressed in there. Alrighty. So we're right about where we should be at, according to service. Well, then we'll start tossing this bad boy back together. My good time boy. Okay, which side was the top before? Okay. Oof. Make sure to take one last wipe of all of your components. Make sure you're not introducing any dirt or crap into here, because it'll make everything wear prematurely. Whoop. Get your little cup. Make sure you got your plastic spacer in there still. Give that a wipe, and we're going to do this to the other fork. It's just, for right now, we're just going to stick with this one. Got any crap on here? Oh, we got a little crap on there. Now, roughly, this is supposed to be like 18 foot-pounds or something of that nature. You know what? So this bad boy to 18 foot-pounds. Now I know this wrench is accurate to within about, and I'll double check this torque value. You leaking at all? No. I'm gonna double check this torque value real quick. 1 second. Alright, so we seem to be clear on any sort of leakage or weepage or seepage. Oh, sorry, I didn't quite deliver on the goods of, hey, this is how the fork should be. But whatever. When you don't have to tear something apart, why be mad about that? Be happy. Now normally you'll need a vise for this, and you'll need to get an aluminum safe vise or a vise with a, you know what, I'll just torque that down when I get it in the triple clamps because that acts like a vise. Alright. Now give this a quick 10 repetitions, see how it feels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we are oil free. Oh, would you look at that? So this is set to 100 milliliters from top within the adjustment range. Adjustment range is 80 to 150. Recommended level is 135. I'm kind of a big boy, so I figure 100's pretty good. Little extra oil will basically just have a little slow. Hear that one? It's all. That's the type of sound it makes when it's a little low on oil. This one sounds like it's fully set up. Got no leaks on either side of this. So I'll pop this top off. Alrighty, well, I'm not going to bore you guys with the reassembly, and ends up we didn't need to take these things apart, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 repetitions, no leaks. Hit the second fork leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 repetitions, no leaks. So before you decide that you're gonna just tear something open, maybe it's worth trying to clean it out first. Little lesson learned today. Well, next we'll be getting all the oil off of this and the brake and caliper and all that rot. So we'll be back next time. But yeah, so this ended up not being a fork servicing video. It was just a fork cleaning video. Well, thanks for hanging in there. Have a good one. Well, here I thought I was done with my forks, but I discovered something interesting that didn't make it in on the last service. Let's see if I can find a quick 19 millimeter. Have everything kind of put away for the day, but whenever I went back over my parts, I discovered I was missing something. And when I discovered I was missing it, I became rather cross. Number 19? My good time boy. So, I'll just take this one back apart. Give it another couple quick pumps, see if it's doing the leaky leak. Pristine. Alrighty. Story behind these, actually, when I first got the bike, they were blown. And I was uncomfortable working on forks, so I sent these off to get worked on. But I've done a bit of research and I'm starting to feel a bit more comfortable with the thought about working on these bad boys. But alright, you see this little spot in here? There's supposed to be rubber bushing in there to keep this from bottoming out and damaging the forks. Neither fork has said rubber bushing. So now I have my forks torn apart until Friday, because both are missing our bottoming bushings. Now this is just for the older style WR forks. The 450 forks, all the newer forks, have like a bottoming resistance thing towards the dampening rod at the bottom of it. But these older forks have a bottom bushing, kind of like a shock stopper on your rear suspension. Both forks are missing the bottom bushing, so yeah. Now I've got another 5-day wait on parts before I have my bike up and running. Well, I guess I'll find some way to keep myself busy. Maybe I'll do a review of the not so long-term review of the Tusk hybrids, or Recon hybrids. But anywho, that's it for today. Well, I'll see you guys next time.